science pathfinders. It's time for Humanity 3.0. Yes, this show is sponsored by Prometheus Reborn Universal Foundation. Proof based on the trivalent understanding noetics, synchronization, learning about your spirit, mind, and body. Featuring stand-up philosophy that includes comedy, culture, science, music, and spoken word through a genre coined by KRS-One, edutainment, educating while entertaining, usually self-performed and produced. The hosts of this wonderful, remarkable show are Dr. Kwaku L. Carlisle Woods, RN, MD, METG1, CEO of Prometheus Reborn Universal Foundation, and myself, Dr. Essie Hamida Rockland Woods, MED, PhD, METG2, Vice President of Education. Yes, and today I want you to remember I have the PH and he has the M. We both have these. That makes us Doc Squared. The title of the show is Even If You Don't Understand.
Absolutely, everybody. Hip Hop Trio Plus is probably going to be performing down at the new Van Aken Mall. Van Aken is called the Van Aken Mart or Mall.
Marketplace.
Marketplace. It's on Van Aken and Warrensville Road. We still have to get a date. As soon as Jesse tells us what date it's going to be, we will let you know. For an advanced preview, go on YouTube to a video that's just called TUN by Jermel Walker. Just view the first one of the 11 videos. You will love it. Now we got to move on to COVID.
Yes.
COVID. Pretty good, except for Delta. Delta is killing people like 70 going north and starting to rip through the world. New lockdowns in Australia and in Asia, as well as Los Angeles County. The whole of Los Angeles County has a new mandate to wear masks indoors, whether you're vaccinated or not. The cases of Delta in May were 1 in 100 cases of COVID. Then they went to, in June, 1 Delta for every 10 cases of COVID. Now it's 1 Delta for every 5 cases of COVID. COVID itself is decreased by about 20%, but that Delta variety
on the rise.
Yeah, big time, like 70 going north. Now, moving on to the trivalent understanding noetics, we're going to give you some historical references as to what, who, where, and when you are, so you can discover why. Pink people have the intellectual and, I think, emotional maturity of about late teenager in the throes of puberty. But you got to understand, pink people started out about 65,000 years ago when the first Alkebulanese migrated out of Alkebulan up into Europe and started interbreeding with Neanderthals. That happened again about 65,000 years ago. You have to kind of judge that against the original Alkebulanese, which started about 250 to 300,000 years ago. That's about 4 times the existence of pink people. If Alkebulanese are mature, say in their 40s, relatively, then pink people are about 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, they're about 12 years old.
Imagine that.
Yeah, 65,000 as opposed to 250 to 300,000. Wow. Yeah. Their history relates the ignorance and lack of understanding pink people have suffered through for the majority of their existence. they're, they have specific ignorances about their basic anatomy and physiology. That was also kind of reinforced by the Roman Catholic Church that forbid anybody to study structure and function of a human being. Again, enforced ignorance.
Shameful.
Human disease, they were totally and completely ignorant of, thinking that it happened by some imbalance of yellow, red, white humors in the body. Waste disposal, human feces and urine, they had no understanding of the proper ways to dispose of waste, even though in the Bible it talks about having a paddle. Every Israelite was supposed to have a paddle on the end of their spear so that they could dig a ditch and cover that which came from them. Feces or urine. That's in, if I'm thinking not mistaken, it's in either Deuteronomy or Chronicles, probably Deuteronomy. They also have a huge history about the anthropology and any historical occurrences outside of Europe. But think about how ignorant that makes you when all of mankind started, 4 times the whole length of existence of Europeans and Alkebulan and beyond. Almost all of man's history, they decided they didn't want to understand. Cosmology and structure of the universe, solar systems, the understanding was not taught by the Roman Catholic Church. Understanding was taught, if it wasn't by the Roman Catholic Church, understanding was said to be evil, satanic, wrong. It was done to keep you fearful, ignorant, and somewhat, what did I write down? Oh, worried. I got worried in the corner here. Worried about life after death. I watched this thing called Chris Haney on MSNBC. Europeans, for the vast majority of their existence, unless they were royalty, clergy, or tradesmen, were serfs, slaves with no right to life, liberty, or any happiness not dictated by their ruling noble. Even the happiness of marriage was marred by the premonoctorn mandate that the lord of the castle has the right to have sex with every woman married for the first time who belongs on his land. You got to remember, people belong to the land belonged to the Lord, so the Lord had rights over all of the people. That was at least the thinking of Europeans. Our ancestors thought that buying and selling people like goats and cows was horrible, especially breaking up families, which were sacred in Alkebulan. But they had been treating pink people that way for centuries. Europeans have been treating other Europeans like slaves ever since Europeans first came into being. If you don't believe me, read Charles Dickens. Read some of the middle-aged English writers about men walking through the town square hollering a boy for sale or girl for sale. That was their own children they were selling. That's what Europeans did.
And see, we just thought it was for amusement.
Yeah, no, we thought it was
reality.
just for us. We thought they were doing that because we were Alkebulanese.
Oh,
They
I'm talking
called
about the
us
movie
black.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah. No. This was
it's real.
how Europe was.
Yeah.
And there was none to teach them difference, since the vast overwhelming majority of pink people were illiterate. They could not read or write at all until the middle of the 20th century. About 1956 was when less than 50% of Europeans could read or write.
That's when I was born. That was the year I was born, y'all.
Absolutely.
Imagine that.
40% of Europe couldn't read, and right after that, 56, I think that was when they did the test. The Roman Catholic Church made it illegal and immoral to learn to read unless you were clergy, who were the only ones allowed to read the Bible. That's what the Roman Catholic Church dictated. The clergy were the only ones allowed to read the Bible. Oh, it was written in Latin anyway, so no. That's why the King James Version was such a breakthrough, because he wrote it in English that people could learn to read if they could learn to read English. I wonder what parts they were scared the people would read and understand, why they made that restriction. The fact that God said no other God before me, that's the first commandment, and they made everybody say, Holy Mary, Mother of God, before they started praying.
No principle.
Was it the fact that they didn't want people to understand that Moses in Judges was said to marry an Ethiopian? It wasn't the fact that she was Alkebulanese. They were all Alkebulanese. But Moses' sister Miriam complained about him marrying, quote, an Ethiopian. All of his children were therefore Ethiopian. And all the rulers of Israel were therefore Ethiopian. But no, that wasn't unusual because, again, everybody was Alkebulanese. Was it the fact that they didn't want people to read about love thy neighbor as thyself, which they didn't do? And they made their neighbors slaves.
Yes.
Was it the fact that money was the opposite of love? The fact that in the Last Supper, Peter was told that Satan had made a deal, that if he failed his test, that Satan was going to have control of Peter, who started the Roman Catholic Church. Maybe that's why they didn't want anybody but clergy to read the Bible. Maybe that's why they didn't want people to understand this religion. But hey, don't you believe anything that's coming out of my mouth, because what's coming out of my mouth is not what I'm thinking. It's not me talking to you. It's actually the Lord giving you information. And speaking of which, we got a song. Me and Mick Beats and OG Shankster do it, and it's called The Lord is Calling. Listen to the words of this song.
And the people cried out by reason of their affliction. And the Lord God said, I will send a messenger with my word of truth and life. Let he that hath an ear, let him listen.
Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. How many children is down to follow me? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. How many children is down to follow me? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. How many children is down to follow me? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. How many children is down to follow me? Hold your head up, get your hands high. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Hold your head up, get your hands high. Don't you know Babylon is falling? You can run now, but you can't hide. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Hold your hands up, get your hands high. Don't you know the Lord is calling? There's lies and dirt roads and back streets, blood stains from lost souls and hot heat. River flows from mom tears, she's been torn. Breastfed all of her kids to the firstborn. 7 seas rooted the trees to my church, and strong winds carried the breeze to my birth. And Lord knows it's been hard, I can't see, had to maintain and work hard on these streets. I heard the streets calling, so I had to lend a hand to the one that's falling. Let them know I understand that the Lord is calling. So just keep your faith, you're still in the race. The main thing, you're still in this race, so let's pray. Hold your head up, get your hands high. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Hold your head up, get your hands high. Don't you know Babylon is falling? You can run now, but you can't hide. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Hold your hands up, get your hands high. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Out of many years of dirt, and years I hurt, it's a crying shame. Living that life of sin, just slander my name. In the eyes of the Lord, who showed me love, who helped me survive in this world, and blessed me with my first son. Somehow I took top of the world. Really, I was just that fool. You had me turn my back on my master. You promised me everlasting. And for that, you's a dirty bastard. The longer can you feel my mind with lies and deceit? Cause right now I'm at peace. It's time to release my soul. Hold your head up, get your hands high. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Hold your head up, get your hands high. Don't you know Babylon is falling? You can run now, but you can't hide. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Hold your hands up, get your hands high. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Look around on these ghetto streets. Prepare your soul, cause the beast already been released. In full control, let me feast on my ghetto peeps. The young and old, death is dead on the land we sleep. The world is cold, I hit my knees and begin to pray. And please, Lord, give me the strength to make it through the day. And have mercy on me, help me see the light. So I can one day too dwell in eternal life. And hold my hand, oh Lord, lead me through the storm. Cause hell been on my trail since my life was born. And we've been cursed since birth, back when you lost your son. And against all odds, let your will be done. Cause I believe in you. Hold your head up, get your hands high. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Hold your head up, get your hands high. Don't you know Babylon is falling? You can run now, but you can't hide. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Hold your hands up, get your hands high. Don't you know the Lord is calling? Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. How many children is down to follow me? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. How many children is down to follow me? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. How many children is down to follow me? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. How many children is down to follow me? Follow me.
All right. Yes, the Lord is calling. Imagine following the principles of the Most High rather than following the principles of what we've been given by our enslaved our masters that have enslaved our spirit, our mind, and our body. The trivalent understanding noetics leads you to the synchronization of your spirit, your mind, and your body through your own understanding. You can call us at 216-375-2742. Again, 216-375-2742 for a free introduction into the trivalent understanding. Tune.
Okay, y'all. Let me continue with this little bit of history. Pink people have always believed that keeping the subject persons ignorant and afraid was key to controlling them and to retaining power. The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. Oh my God, I am just loving to reread this at the point in life I am right now. I read it when I was in my mid to late teens, and I had no understanding of the depths that this man was going through. I do now. But he, in 1513, he outlined the rules for any prince. That was kings, emperors, or rulers. It's better to be feared than loved. And the afterwards to the 2004 edition by Oliver Francis states Machiavelli remains a byword for intrigue, deceit, low cunning, and the pursuit of political ends without regard for morality. He further states that Francis Bacon, Henry VIII, and Thomas Cromwell, Henry's chief minister, all agreed with Machiavelli that while rulers are supposed to be embodiment of virtue and honor, their success comes often from their total disregard for ethical concerns. This is how European rulers learned to rule. But more importantly, Machiavelli goes into the relationship between the Roman Catholic Church and rulers. He talks about an argument between Dominicans and Franciscans, in which one father said he was going to walk on fire, and a father from the other denomination, the Dominicans said they were going to walk in fire first. And then the Franciscan says, oh, no, you're just lying. We'll walk on fire. To make this long story very short, they both decided that they were going to prove that their allegiance to God by walking on fire. But before this ever came about, both the leader of the Dominicans and the leader of the Franciscans says, we're not going to walk on the fire. Even though we're the ones that said we were going to walk on fire and God would protect us because we're so holy, we ain't going to do it. we're going to send a representative of our denomination to go and walk on the fire.
Yeah.
To make this long story very short, they argued and argued about the specifics, and especially about the Dominicans' clothing, which was really, really thick and long and heavy and had about 4 or 5 layers, while the Franciscans just had a little thin brown kind of like terry cloth robe. To end this whole deal, they both accused the other ones of backing out, and they both decided, no, we ain't going to walk on fire. We ain't going to ask the Lord to save us or nothing. Which brings us to the present day situation in the great state of Florida, to which Government Ron DeSantis is totally convinced that college students are being indoctrinated. He is fearful of the dangerous ideas coming out of higher education.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Sounds just like the Roman Catholic Church, fearful of dangerous ideas like freedom and liberty and democracy and all that stuff. Ever since human beings started schools of higher learning, conservatives have been freaked out by concepts that they frankly have little to no understanding of. Take it from history that pink people have always had a fear of science, biology, history, and spirituality. Why? Because it shows them to be who they are, and they have never wanted to be who they are. They have never wanted to be the little kid on the block. They have never wanted to be that subjuvenile being that they were. They have never wanted to be ignorant. They have never wanted to be slaves, but that's where we get the word slaves from, because Slavs were all slaves. When they were still living in caves, eating each other and wearing skins, in Alkebulan we had invented brain surgery, heart surgery, mathematics, astrology, medicine, pharmacology, psychology, and about every science known to man.
Do your research. Don't just listen. Do your research so you can create your own images of what
Yes,
is
please,
reality.
please. This is what all the subjects that Europeans wanted to avoid was all about, because they were all subjects that the dark races, the true Homo sapiens, have created or mastered. They feared education and the educated. And this is not anything that old. They still have these same propensities right now. Listen to what the Republicans are talking about the left and their education, their training, their indoctrination. Governor DeSantis had just signed a bill that will require public colleges and universities to survey students, faculty, and staff about their beliefs and viewpoints to support intellectual diversity. He states that budget cuts could be looming if universities and colleges are found to be indoctrinating students. What does indoctrination mean? Indoctrination, the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. I thought that that's kind of what college and higher education was about, learning to be critical.
Yes.
I didn't learn to be critical about anything until I got into medical school. The key word here is uncritical. Lack of criticism or consideration of whether something is right or wrong. That sounds like exactly what DeSantis and all of the Republicans are doing right now. They have brought up all of these conspiracy theories and all of these just straight up lies without any consideration whether it's right or wrong. And they have been told by their own people. Liz Cheney, thank you. But they have been told by their own people, this is a lie. They have been told by judges who looked at all of this stuff after line 44.5 started talking about the election and said, no, you have no proof of any of this ever happening. Nothing you say is true. And these judges were Republicans. But that's the history of pink people for about, 3,000 years. Greece, the first pink people. Rome, Europe, and the New World. Because in the New World, they introduced slavery, chattel slavery, and took the humanity away from those that were enslaved. White supremacy, which did not exist until they left Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, voting is a problem. Evaluation of all the elections ever done in this country say, no, it isn't. But again, isn't that being uncritical? Isn't that lack of criticism or consideration of whether something is right or wrong? When all of the studies, even Line 44.5's own Barr, his leader of Department of Justice, said no, there was no fraud. There was no fraud. There was no anything wrong with this election. Line 44.5 and half of the Republicans said, no, that's being uncritical. Are they indoctrinated? Liz Cheney thinks so. We don't need to critique 1/6, January 6th riot by pink people. We don't need to find out about that. Now, ignorance is when you don't want to understand. It's when you don't understand. Stupidity is when you don't want to understand. And they are brazenly flaunting their stupidity. We don't want to understand what happened on January 6th. We don't want to investigate what happened on January 6th. We're going to block every attempt to try to understand what happened on January 6th, because what happened on January 6th was us being stupid, violent, and undemocratic. We want to overthrow the government of the United States of America, and we don't want anybody to understand that. Not only being stupid, I want you to be stupid too.
We just want to get a quick shout out to Rondell of the Black Jack Dance Collective.
Woo, woo, woo. Come on,
happen to
show
wear
it.
a T-shirt
Show
today,
it.
Rondell.
Show it.
We're sending you love, dear brother. Love
That
you.
is. That is. And Marquise from ADT.
Yes, Marquise from ADT.
Marquise.
Yes. Thank you, Marquise.
We told you we were going to shout you out. Okay, but all of this stuff that they are doing, being indoctrinated, is them being uncritical of themselves and their stupidity in not wanting to understand their own shortcomings. Based on division, based on inferiority, based on a need to hate what you are not, even if that hate extends to science, history, anthropology, democracy, or any of those things that they just want to hate. Malt's Jewish Center of History here in Cleveland had a essay contest called Stop the Hate, and they were given $50,000 worth of scholarships. Albert Ratner asked us to write a song for that contest, which we did. And it's something I want you to listen to right now, because it goes definitely against what the Republicans are pushing now, and which pink people have been pushing for about 3,000 years. Listen to Stop the Hate.
Hate is a flame that consumes my humanity, and the humanity of anyone I direct hate at. Hate is a twisted lens that warps all reality.
I will extinguish the fires of hate with the cooling, soothing waters of filial love.
Filial love is brotherly love. It is the love that exists when you realize that you're related to another through a permanent, unbreakable bond, through a stronger, larger, more important group. Family, gang, culture, race, as a sample of humanity, or as an example of life itself. We are all related.
Yeah, I'm with G the Fiddler. And we gon' stop the hate. Yeah, 1, 2, look, it's time to man up, stand up, face up, hands up. Misleading all the children with your fears, we understand, bruh. Society made you this way, that's how you shift the blame, I get it, it's probably just the way that you was raised up. But this time it's different, time to give that grace up to yourself for the most high, and be the one to spread love. An example for the next generation, that's what you also stop all the hate, cause it's time for us to play our part. What part they ask every time the fiddler hit the stage. So you know my stuff, I'm always promoting that stop the hate, stop the hate. No procrastination, no debating, that's how I'm feeling, so listen, pay attention. No, I ain't preaching. Education got me on them teachings, got me on them healing. Enabling every last one of my siblings. We all from God, it's time to build so we can beat the odds. Start the love, stop the hate so we can rise above.
It can kill your body and soul. It can turn your heart to cold. Everything you go through, yo, you must grow. So you'll be able to stop the hate and make the world a better place for all the future rays. Did you know that you can start today? Stop the hate.
Stop. Hey, stop. Look, hey, stop. Yeah, look. What's wrong with the world, mama? People living like they ain't got no mamas. Like Black Eyed Peas said, boy, I got a feeling that the world needs some lyrical spiritual healing for the people to love and not hate it or fear it. Now please bless me with the talents to reach the spirit, so I can penetrate the mind and all its egotistics. It help me listen more and not only just hear it, cause I know we all equal and we'll all inherit all the blessings of life if we only live it. Let's fill up the world with some better places. Might as well get it in for the future races. Wouldn't it feel so good being a generation to inspire peace upon the future nations? Imagine eliminating all the petty hatred and getting back to the basics, yeah, where the faith is. But first, stop the hate.
It can kill your body and soul. It can turn your heart to cold. Everything you go through, yo, you must grow. So you'll be able to stop the hate and make the world a better place for all the future rays. Did you know that you can start today?
Let me holler at my third eye world close with precision and painting perfect pictures of new dimensions in your lenses so everybody can see the vision. The close attention to verbal conversations is getting heated all across the nation. We got the power to focus on a decision. Spoken through politicians, speaking out loud throughout the competition. The world been ready for change, ain't no escape from the stain. Lift up the shackles and chains that they forgot to mention. We overcame every obstacle that was laid. Prophesied through the greater documentation of our Dr. King. He had a dream that we all came to the boulder. Been 40 years since the start. I think it's time to let your voices ring. Pick up your voice and let freedom ring through the notes. Everybody can vote and take a stand on what we all believe. The time has come to be brave, stand by the king, it is great. Embrace the road that was paved and let your conscience free. Although the man gave his life just like our Lord Jesus Christ, all that be bought with a price they didn't have to pay. The crucifixion with death, tied in submission, the world still wouldn't listen, and you wonder why we need to pray.
We've been trained how to respond to our own individual self with it. Let's learn more about who we are, actually what we are, who we are, where we are, when we are, so we can also understand why we exist.
Absolutely. And why are we in this problem that we are in as a nation and as a world right now? Because a proven liar and his backers should tell others what to do. That's what the Republicans want you to accept. That a proven liar, a proven thief, a proven criminal should be the leader of their party and this country. DeSantis wants to check up on students to see if they have the right views and threatening them if they have the wrong views. Free speech be damned. It's what DeSantis wants for Florida, as do about 23 other states that are in the process of trying to ban teaching about race, something called critical race theory. But they're, again, lying like rugs. Critical race theory is about how race colors this nation's political, legal, criminal justice, you name a system. It is all based on racism, and it is only taught in the upper reaches of college. When you're going for a master's, they teach it. You guys going to college, they don't teach it at all, and they don't teach it anywhere.
And Black
before
History
college.
Month is during January, February is the same month that they actually have testing for children. So you spend more time, and I know this as a educator for the public school system for a very long time, over 20 years. Spend more time practicing the test than learning anything.
But DeSantis' real problem, he revealed in a news interview when he said, I know many parents, when they send their children off to college, worry, are they simply going to be indoctrinated rather than taught to think for themselves, challenge assumptions, and be critical thinkers and learners? I totally and completely disagree with him. No parent's thinking that but him. No parent is sending their child off to college thinking that they're going to be indoctrinated. They're going to be taught subjects that the parents don't understand, and they're going to bring back understanding that the parents don't have. That's what they're afraid of. But in all reality and the history of pink people, they have always feared understanding of their politics by the masses, and as millennials increase in understanding, they are less and less likely to support Republicans. And that's what they fear. The Republicans fear voters who are educated in their politics, and young pink people coming out of college are the most left-leaning generation by far. This is evaluated by an exit poll that American Enterprise Institute did across 55 different schools. And they stated in the result of the study showed that 50% of students were liberal to some degree, while only 26% of the students were conservative. Now, what this says is the number of college students who are conservative and voting Republican is just about doubled by the number of college students who, after being educated history, biology, anthropology, and anything that allows them to see reality as it actually is, rather than the way pink people want it to be, they understand that they need to vote more with Democrats, because that makes not only more logic and sense, it's more humanistic. Okay. Now, this is a reflection of what the Roman Catholic Church has been fighting for centuries. The rise in the understanding of humanity. They have been fighting this, for about 3,000 years. This millennial generation is abandoning the Roman Catholic Church and Republicans like passengers on the Titanic, and for some of the same reasons. Pink males' ego, that's one of the reasons they're abandoning it. Ignorance taught as intelligence. Listen to almost all of the Republicans who are backing line 44.5. And the fact that when you learn better, you do better. When you understand better, you think better. When you learn better, you do better. And they don't want people to do better. They want people to do ignorant. They want people to do stupid. They want people not to critically think about anything. But the present Republicans are probably the worst hypocrites that have ever existed on this planet. Everything they do, they blame on Democrats and the left, or Alkebulanese, or Asians, or immigrants, or anybody but them. Though they have been the most ignorant people on this planet for 3,000 years, and that's been proven over and over and over and over. Now, and for the foreseeable future, a large factor in determining political association will be educational level. People with higher levels of education are more liberal, while those with lower levels of education tend to be conservative.
Okay.
How much time we got before
How
the
much
next
time
one?
I got? All
Okay,
right.
good. I can do this Pew Research thing then.
Mhm.
The Pew Research Center, in a paper entitled The Growing Partisan Divide in Views of Higher Education, states, from Republicans and independents who lean Republican, they were polled about any negative effects colleges have on the country. In 2015, 30% of Republicans and independents who lean Republicans, 37% said that there was a problem with the negative effects of college in 2015. But in 2019, that percentage rose to 59%. They are seeing more and more of a problem with education,
Yes.
as more and more millennials understand history, biology, genetics, anthropology, religion, and politics, and realize Republicans are they're crazy. They're actually insane. They're emotionally imbalanced. And if I ever get a chance to talk to you about fetal alcohol syndrome, and I will one of these days, you will understand why, both psychologically and medically. But these are things I have been trying to learn for all my life, 71 years. I wondered how human beings function and what caused them to function on the level that they did, and what was the history, biology, and specifically neurology that human beings use to function with. How do people work? That's what I remember asking myself within really a couple of weeks of being born. When my aunt bent over and started talking. What is she doing and why is she doing it and what does it mean? How does she do that? These were the things that went through my mind. I went to elementary school thinking that they would teach me and I would get that understanding there. No, couldn't get it. I went to high school. I thought I could get that understanding there. How do people work and how does your mind, body, and spirit correspond? Nope, couldn't get into high school. I dropped out of high school. Took a GED and the CLEP test that I tell everybody about and got a year's worth of college and then left the country. I went searching for these answers overseas. I got pretty close a couple of times in the Philippines and in Korea. Kowloon, right across the bay from Hong Kong, they also had some insights that they were very, 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 very minimal. And they were basically the difference between European culture and Asian culture. So I really didn't get the understanding that I'm looking for. I came back to the United States, figured, okay, I need some higher training. That'll tell me what I want. That'll get me what I'm trying to get. Went to nursing school. Couldn't find it in nursing school. They taught us about the mind and body. They said absolutely nothing. How about the third of your being, your spirit, functions at all, period. Went back to college after nursing school, after I got my RN. Double major in biology and psychology, figuring one of them will give me some of the information I'm trying to get. Neither did.
Hmm.
Went to medical school. Same thing. I'm still trying to get this information. Nuh-uh. Not in
Yeah.
medical school. After medical school, internship and residency, same results. I finally had to go myself and find out. I went through the econ rites of passages. I went through several courses on metaphysics. I took a 2-year course in spirituality from Mama Botwe,
Yes, Nana Butcher. Mm-hmm.
and none of them could get me what the information I was looking for.
In
How do
addition,
humans?
study religion.
Yes.
Religion.
Oh, I've been studying religion since I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
But no, none of them. And I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to invent it myself. It's called the Trivalent Understanding
Yes.
Noetics. And I presented it at the United Nations Incentive to Innovation Conference to standing ovation. We got a song all about that journey that I just talked to you about. Hip Hop Trio Plus.
Yes.
I'm the Plus. Give you this song called appropriately Can't Get.
When you're going through this thing called life, you're going to have a great number of opportunities and you're going to have some challenges. In those opportunities and those challenges, you may not be able to get everything that you want, but you should always try to get what you need.
You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want.
But if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. Now we're all here for the celebration, trying to find out my own creation, how to learn from my imagination, finding truth, my only liberation. Yeah. 'Cause you can't always get what you want. You can't
Always get what you want. Always get what you want.
But if you try sometimes, you know you just might find you get what you need. So we find ourselves without the spirit, trying with mind and body just to feel it. We train, then work to make our money. Without purpose, we're feeling kind of funny, and not the ha-ha kind. 'Cause you can't always get what you want. You really, really can't. Can't always you know it, you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you know you just might find you get what you need. So finally, I thought I'd try this tuning. Understanding, you know, it taught me the way I say no fooling. Now believe what you want is your decision, but I know the way without collision. 'Cause you can't always no. Sometimes get it that way. You sometimes can't get it another way that you can. And I try sometimes. Just like that. Get what you need. You get what you need. You get what you need.
All right, want to make sure that we give a shout out to Darnell Weaver. He and Brian Bell are founders of the Black Jack Dance Collective, And also Rondell is the founder of New Rose Sigma Arts Sorority. Our daughters are members of that sorority.
Okay. This educational divide is especially sharp among pink people. They understand more and more. Joey B. in the 2020 election got 32% of pink non-college graduates, but 51% of pink college graduates. Look at the state distribution of votes in the 2020 election. Indiana, for example, had every county voting for line 44.5 except Indianapolis, where they got Notre Dame, University of Indiana, Indiana Wesleyan University, Purdue, and Ball State University.
Yes.
Those are the places that had education people in greater amounts, and they would not vote like the ignorant folks did. Their solution to this very serious political problem of not being attractive to young, educated voters, and the numbers keep going up as more go to college, their solution is to make the state government monitor what colleges are teaching and step in with sanction if they're too liberal or too educated. State senators controlling huge areas of the country through gerrymandering, state senators and local elections, including school boards, while at the same time losing the popular vote in 7 of the last 8 national elections. Listen to that. Republicans lost the popular vote in 7 of the last 8 elections, and they're going to lose all the rest of them too. Because as a nation, we're becoming more and more educated, and they are being voted for by the less and less educated. They failed to gain a plurality or majority in any of those elections. Most of the people of the nation don't support them. So they've given up trying to reach the majority of the country. And instead, they're trying to use the local and state power they still possess to encode their desires on a resentful populace. The Koch brothers plan to stack local politics, and they succeeded in that. And we're getting those effects right now as local and state politicians are doing all of this crazy elections. Right. Okay. If we decrease turnout and make it harder for folks to vote, they figure, we can win without convincing more educated people we're right. A rule by the ignorant and stupid over the intelligent. What pink people have always favored. DeSantis vows to defund colleges that are too liberal. The GOP thought police in action. MSNBC Republicans are attacking everyone who is a critical thinker. Witness this general being attacked for the military because the military was woke. That means you're aware. And they were attacked by Republican congressmen for being aware. And he fought back and said, yeah, I want to be woke. Yeah, I want to understand what's going on. Yeah, I want to know what happened in January the 6th. And anybody who doesn't is against this democracy. Republicans. Since when is understanding bad? You want to know when? Since pink people first came into the world stage, and that stage is yet to end its show. Maybe the curtain is slowly being brought down as education goes up.
Yes.
And even if you don't understand, don't be stupid. Don't reject understanding. Okay, that's our show for today.
Yeah.
We're through. And in closing, I always want to wish you peace, which stands for proper education always corrects error. And when going out, I want you to imagine what this country and this world will be like in approximately 1 year. Next year, I'm predicting Republicans lose the Congress, the Senate, and the presidency. And all I want you to do is imagine.
Peace.
Imagine if we can be in love. imagine a world full of compassion, where your words turn into action. School of harmony, love is present, hate is absent. We are the world of words of the late Mike Jackson. Gotta get the picture while life's passing by. From the ground to the sky, it seems like a beauty pageant. The streets is the runway, and you're the models. Imagine this Woodstock, turn this into their motto. Once you make a stand, then others will follow. From the seeds you plant, the flowers will blossom. Racism, two can play that game, but together we can make that change. And forever, just erase that pain, erase that shame. See how much unity we gain. I'm just trying to make it plain, so we can see the sunshine after the rain. Let's ride.